All right. All right. Perfect. We are here with Ryan Brown, stand-up comedian. Tell him what's up. Tell him what's up, bro.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
Yeah. Oh, man. Woo! They going wild for you out there, bro. Nice. Well, I'm glad to have you again, dude. We had you before. We talked about a lot of different little stuff. What's been new? What's new with you? Have you done anything else in the comedy world?
Yeah, man, I've been booked like at least a couple shows every week, pretty much all year. You know, the only weekend I missed is I was supposed to go to Atlanta, and then it snowed really bad, so the flight got canceled like that day. But I had like 3 shows that I turned down because I was supposed to be in Atlanta, and then it snowed and I didn't go, and I just didn't get to do those shows. But
snowed here or in Atlanta?
Yeah, I don't know.
Snowed here.
Oh,
Snowed
okay.
here. Like the last big snowstorm we got, it was on a Thursday. I was supposed to be flying out that Thursday night, or it was Wednesday night, and I got the email at like 8 o'clock. Like, nah, everything's shut down. Yeah,
That's the worst, man.
yeah. I mean, you know, what are you gonna do?
Well, so did you think like a contingency plan next time, or was it not that big of a deal?
It
Was
wasn't.
Atlanta okay?
Yeah, it
okay.
was Atlanta. I got a buddy out there, you know, so I was gonna go and hang out with him for a couple days. I was leaving Thursday night. I was coming back Sunday morning, so you know, I'd have been there a couple days. I probably would have did a couple mics or something down there, but I didn't have any book shows or anything like that. So, you know,
They say Atlanta's black royalty, bro. They say that's where all the money is right now.
Yeah,
They say it's popping.
You know, I'm trying to get down there, but you know, I don't really have a plan like, oh, I got to do this. I'm just enjoying doing comedy. If something comes from it, then cool. But I'm doing it for the love. Like I know I'm good. So like, you know, kind of, you know, when I'm doing shows, it's like, hey, look, I don't, you know, I'm doing this. I should get compensated or whatever. But it's not about the money. The money will come if I keep doing it. I'm not chasing no money.
Yeah.
Trying to do comedy.
Yeah, and in my mind, when I said Atlanta, I didn't think about the paycheck. I was thinking there might be like someone you're a headliner that you could have been tied to.
Right.
You know
right,
what? I
right.
didn't know because Atlanta, I know.
That's the kind of thing, because that's kind of like how comedy works. Like no matter how good a video or you know how good you do in your you know local scene or whatever, you'll get much more play in comedy if you know a national headliner that'll vouch for you.
Yep.
And then somebody will just be like that's how I did the show in Toledo. I knew the headliner, and I messaged him. He was like, "Yeah, I'll bring you in," and you know, and that's how I got to do that weekend. So you know, if anything else comes from that, it's because I went down there and had a solid weekend. It wasn't great. The first show was rough, but you know, luckily we had 4 more shows, and I did a lot better.
And like in the entertainment industry now, it's interesting because it's like you said, your face being next to someone's face, that will bring the money. That's where the value generation comes from now.
Yep.
It's interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Like you eating a hot dog next to Kevin Hart might be more valuable than like you doing a set.
Yeah.
You know,
you crushing in front of 300 or 400 people.
Yeah.
It's like it's like kind of like the whole guilty by association. It's like, you know, royalty or proven by association. So if you can, you know, that's why people do stuff like that. They're like, oh, you know, they'll try to sneak a photo with somebody and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, it's just not in me to do that. Like,
cringe.
I'm
Very
not,
cringe.
Yeah, I'm not chasing, you know, notoriety or anything like that. If I get good enough, people will find me.
You take a picture like this, and it's like all the way in the angle, Sada baby. You know what I'm saying? Me and Sada.
I'm not a big fan. I think I've only taken pictures with a couple comics, and it's just like, you know, I'm just not a big picture guy in general, so I don't want to be like. So it's not me. So like if I always took pictures everywhere, and then like, okay, now I'm doing comedy, so I'm always taking pictures, that would be one thing. Like that would be kind of understandable. But for me to go out and be like, oh, I got to take this picture with this person, it's like I'm only doing it for that reason, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll remember who I did what with or who I met or whatever. I don't need to, you know, prove to anybody that, you know, I'm funny or I did this. You know, the crowd will tell you if you're funny or not. And
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, that's the only reason I brought you on. You're the funniest comedian from the Detroit area that I've seen. That's the whole thing.
You got to get out and see some more then, because I wouldn't put me as a fun. Like, I haven't been doing it that long, and there's some people that you'll see them and it's they're destroying, like the crowd's jumping up, going crazy and stuff like that. So. It's but I like what I do.
Being humble.
I like to. I mean, but it's on. Like, I'm not like, oh, I don't even look at it like, oh, I'm the funniest, or I don't. I do the jokes that I like, that I would want to see, that I try to tell. Because people ask me sometimes, it's like, oh, like I did a podcast and somebody's like, well, what do black people think about this? And I was like, how the fuck should I know?
Like you can answer for all of them.
Yeah, like so it's like. But I kind of feel the same way with comedy. It's like, if I do a certain thing, it's like, oh, this isn't a black thing or whatever. And I'm like, fuck that. This is what I like. This is the type of comedy I think is funny. This is the angle I'm gonna come at it from. I'm not gonna. Nobody has the same opinion.
Yeah,
that's why like all this politics stuff is crazy, because it's like, come on, man, you following somebody that's lying to you, and they all lie. Like, that's their job. Like,
yeah.
They don't believe this shit they say, but
so it's interesting. Actors. So you're talking about the whole pigeonholed as like black comedy concept, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, I can't remember his name, but he's like a huge fat guy with big bulgy eyes, and he does stand-up comedy. He was also in Breaking Bad, but
Lavelle
Crawford.
Yeah.
To me, he is the epitome of that pigeonholed type of comedy. Like, he is so funny that he could literally just be reading off the back of an ingredients bottle and I'd crack up.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Because he's got the voice, he's got the inflection, but that's years and years of doing comedy. And that's what's funny. Like, I look at it like, I assume people do it because that's what's funny to them. But I know I've met people that's like, oh, I'm just trying to do this to, get a TV show or to do yada yada yada, and I'm like, well, I mean, good luck, like,
yeah,
like you can never be. I feel like you can never be satisfied if you chasing something that somebody else has to give you.
Yeah, and I think that I personally like the aspect of your comedy because, like I said, I forgot his name, Lavelle
Crawford.
Like Lavelle Crawford, he's very funny. I laugh every time. But it's mostly his delivery, and it's almost nothing to do with the intellectual part of his jokes. He never takes me into a pigeonhole or, like, surprises me at the end. It's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's like me thinking about my grandma, like, beating my ass.
Yeah. Or, like, one of his funniest bits that I can think of is, like, when his mom, like, gives him the rundown before they go into the grocery store.
Yeah.
And then he just repeats it. So it's like a 10-minute bit. But he does it like in his mom's voice, and then he's like, all right, his mom has to repeat it back to him, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's 10 minutes of a 60 or a 45-minute show. That's a good way to kill some time, and like you said, it's hilarious. People paying to laugh. Everybody's not paying to think or whatever. I like the thinkers though. Yeah, I like to try to blend them. Like, yeah, you're getting paid to laugh. You got to get those laughs in. But if I can do it talking about politics or sneaking in some racism or something like that,
it's better.
That's the best shit to me, man. And that's how you gotta do it, man. Like the thing we were talking about, that Karen Flyers thing, like, I do this whole thing about going hunting and like all of this shit I learned through hunting, and then at the very end, there's like, oh, this is racist. Like, it's like, it's just like, you gotta. I heard this quote, and it's been quoted a bunch, so I can't remember exactly who I heard it from, but it's like, if you want to tell people the truth, you have to make them laugh, or they'll kill you. And that's like, and that's the, and it goes back 400 or 500 years or something like that. But that's how I think about my jokes. Like, this is the stuff I want to talk about. This is the truth. But you can't just go out and be like, America's racist, because then people are just
that's a good point.
You can't do it like that, man. Yep. And I'm like, every now and then I get into it with somebody on Twitter, and I hate when I get sucked in because I know it's not a real person. But I'm
getting botted.
Yeah, man. But I'm like, come on, like, some of this, like, the whole, they made, like, the president and the vice president had to go out and was like, yeah, no, America's not racist anymore. It's like, how often do you think the vice president gets an email with the word nigger in it? Like, it's a lot, bro.
That's funny.
Like,
that's hilarious.
And then somebody was like, well, she's not even black, she's Jamaican. I'm like, do you think that fucking matters? Like, that doesn't matter. She's getting that shit all the time, bro. But they go, no, we don't think it's real. Like, come on, man. But that's what I'm saying. Like, people just love fake shit. Is that's what we, and I try to be. I like comedy because I feel like it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like there's some comics that, like I said, like the Lavelle Crawford thing, that could be his truth, and that's what he's saying, and that's one aspect. But I like the truth, so it might be ugly, it might be nasty, it might be we talking about divorce, we talking about like I said, one of the first jokes I wrote, and I'll probably tell it forever, is about how I hate my kids.
Yeah.
And it's not honest, it's sarcasm, but. Everybody, I feel like if you don't hate your kids a little bit, you are a terrible parent. You have to be, because you got to give up your life to be a decent parent. You got to go to their shitty games, and they suck. The team suck. My son is really good at football. Like but his team, they were getting their ass beat every game, and my son running for his life because he's a running back. He played running back and he played defensive end. He's a monster. So I love going to watch him. But as a fan of football, I'm like, this is garbage. Like, how do y'all suck so bad? But, But that's what you do as a parent, man. And it's not that hard to be a parent, but it's crazy to me. Like anybody can be a parent, and we fighting. They trying to force people to have babies. It's like, and they gonna be the worst parent.
Oh.
Like that,
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to ask you because at least in like podcasting, there's definitely like East Coast, West Coast type of vibe. Like people do a lot of stuff at like the Comedy Store, right, in LA. And there's like an LA sector of comedians. There's also a New York vibe of comedians, like when it comes to Skankfest and just I don't know. That's like the big crew though there. Okay. Have you noticed any difference when it comes to like different sides of comedy and comedians when it comes to East Coast, West Coast?
I mean, I don't know. I think everything is a little more blended now, and just because you can get your stuff out everywhere. So if you're a comic, and it's kind of like what we talked about last time, if you're not putting your stuff out there online a little bit at least, you really limiting yourself, So you have to be like, that's why I like comedy, because like whatever you like, whatever you perform, you can find an audience. Somebody will like. So I've never noticed that. I haven't done comedy. I mean, I did comedy in Vegas, but nice. I haven't done comedy in LA. I've seen comedy. I went to the Comedy Store. I saw like a showcase in the Belly Room, and I didn't think it was that much different than going to the Comedy Cellar, because I was in New York last year, and I went to the Comedy Cellar 3 nights in a row, and there was a few comics that were there every night. Like Dave Attell was there every night. And, right. His stuff, like the first 2 nights, because I kind of talked to him and I talked to the door guy like every night. So like those first 2 nights, it was pretty similar. And then I was telling him like, yeah, I'll be back the 3rd night. He was like, okay, I'm going to do different stuff. And he did, he did, you could tell some stuff he was working on. Like his opener was the same because it was kind of about COVID. So he kind of kept that. But then he was kind of like working, and he does a lot of crowd work and stuff like that kind of too. But yeah, as far as like how they structure jokes and things like that, or I don't think there's a beef,
No, I would say,
but people do, like crews are everywhere. There's crews in different parts of Michigan.
Oh, for sure.
There was a whole thing about Lansing versus Grand Rapids, a couple months ago, and it was like, and then people don't get booked on stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to tell jokes. I'm cool with, there's only a couple people I don't really mess with in comedy, but that's only because they've done me wrong personally. And, and they, even one guy, people tried to warn me, like as soon as I started doing comedy, they was like, hey, look out for this guy. But I was like, he didn't do anything to me. So he's good in my book, but no, he definitely did some shady shit. So
there you go.
They were right, but
like, what do they do? What does he do?
I mean, it's he's a bad booker, so like he'll kind of like mess around with the money. He'll act like he doesn't want to pay you right away and stuff like that. And it's like, come on, man, I don't want to, I'm not trying to fight you over $40, but but it's the principle, Yep. So it's, but like I said, I'm.
When were you in Vegas? Was it last year's Vegas, like September?
Yeah, September for I think the World Series of Comedy.
Where was that at?
That was at LA Comedy Club inside the Stratosphere.
Yeah.
But
You said that's where Attell was?
no, Attell was at the Comedy Cellar.
Oh, okay.
In New York. So that was
Okay.
like,
oh, okay. New
yeah,
York,
I think that
that's
was
right.
like May.
Yeah.
I think May last year. And then I saw him. He was just here at Mark Ridley's. I think maybe back in January.
Okay.
Fairly recently.
Yeah.
But and there was some crossover, but it's not like, that's what you're working to,
Yeah.
You do this stuff a bunch of times so that when you go tour or whatever, it's it's rock solid.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say is that when it comes to New York content, I feel like when I watch New York stand-up comedians, first off, almost all of them bring that like, hey, how you doing, piece to their comedy, because that's a part of who they are growing up in New York.
Yeah, but New York is like I said, and I've done comedy I was in New York for 4 days, and I did 14 mics because that's all I went to New York to do. I didn't sightsee. I barely ate. I was eating to survive. But that was it. I was just doing mics all around all the different parts of New York, and so everybody there is like, so New York is like a melting pot. There aren't only people that grew up in New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are some people that are like that are like they have, but again, I think that's their truth type of thing.
Yeah.
So and it's like anywhere else. If you go to New York, especially like open mics, you'll hear people talk about the same type of topics. Just like if you go to open mics in Michigan, they talk about Michigan stuff. But in New York, the goal line of getting, maybe into the Cellar or any of the other 15 comedy clubs that they have. Like there's a comedy club like half a block away from the Comedy Cellar where, people can go and work out and, try to get on a showcase there before you can get to the showcase at the Comedy Cellar. And that's kind of how you work your way up. So all of those people, are doing jokes to try to get good. That's like, hey, if I work here, then I can work my way to the Comedy Cellar, or there might be a booker or something that, is there for one of the late night shows and you can get a set on that. So I do think when you're in those places, you're working harder towards, hey, this could be a late night set. Whereas in Michigan, it's like, people are more doing their own type of thing. And it's like, it's some people that's like, yeah, this would never work on late night, but that's what they love. And they just master that thing, so. Like I say, that's why I never even if I see somebody where it's like, oh, they're bombing, I'm still like, hey man, I might not be like good set, but I'll be like, hey, just keep writing, right. Record, listen to it, and if you're not getting the response you're looking for, change it a little bit. You don't got to throw it out completely, but the audience, you don't get too many pity laughs. So yeah, they're honest. Even if I've been in contests where I know people have brought 50 people. And then they didn't really get any laughs because you can't.
They brought 50 people?
Yeah, but you can't force people to laugh. They gotta know, you can't get the pity laugh. It's a reflex. Laughter is a reflex. You can't. yeah. You can't. But that's why if you watch some of those specials and stuff like that people put out, you can kind of tell where the laugh tracks are. Because they kick in at the wrong spot, or somebody might make a comment like, "Oh, I thought that would work," but this laugh track still goes off. So in reality, they weren't laughing, right. Yeah. But you can edit in some laughs after.
Right.
Yeah. Like off editing on the laugh track for sure. Yeah. But the whole thing is that from what I've been, and I'm just saying what I watched. You were there, so I'm probably watching top comedians. I'm guessing or what I don't know.
Yeah.
But New York comics go harder on. The line of what they're willing to push, from what I saw, compared to in LA, they're gonna hit you with Epstein pedophile jokes hard, and then the LA stuff won't go to those levels, and that's the difference. That I'm like, have you noticed that?
I mean, well, my problem is I don't really look at where the people are from, so I wouldn't notice necessarily this person works out here, or these jokes came from here, so that's why they do this. I believe that just because LA has a more progressive mindset around them. It's California.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of think like that more in general.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. But that's kind of the point. Like, if you come up in that era, or if you come up in those surroundings, when you're writing jokes, when you're thinking about jokes, you're like, oh, I watch these people get these types of laughs for doing these types of jokes. Here's my take on that same topic or whatever. So that's why you kind of have those things. But if it's a good joke, if it's a well-crafted joke, like I've had people like cover their face and stuff like that on a punchline because they don't want to laugh because they feel like it's wrong to laugh.
Yeah.
But that's my point. It's a reflex, man. Right. Like, and that's my favorite thing. And I'll point them out like, no, you already did it. Like, that's worse than laughing because your body's telling you to laugh, but you're trying to hide it because you think it makes you a bad person. Like, let that out, man.
Yeah. The like censoring yourself because of the area you're in type of thing. You know what I mean? And that's all I was trying to say is because what I've seen, the New York comedian scene will push the boundaries of what is acceptable to talk about.
But that's what I'm saying. New York is there's more hard places in New York.
Yes.
Like LA's got some rough places and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's laid back. It's still sunny and stuff. Even if your life is hard and all of that,
it's beautiful.
You can still
outside.
go to the beach. Yeah, it's still it never gets under 60. I lived in California when I was younger. I lived in San Diego for like 6 years. And I remember it raining like for sure less than 10 times in 6 years.
That's crazy.
And I was so it's hard to be pissed off. Whereas in New York, the traffic's terrible. And LA traffic is bad too, but you got snow, it's rats everywhere. You gotta take the train. I saw rats fucking fighting over food and shit. It was wild. And then it just flooded, so that's other shit you gotta deal with, and
so that's the whole reason I brought this up is because I wanted to ask you, like, taking it back all the way to like Shakespearean times, which is like at least where I learned the concept of comedy, humor to tragedy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that the bigger the tragedy, the better the comedy? Don't you feel they have, or do you feel they don't have a correlation and a causation?
It's for sure like comedy and tragedy, or like it's like comedy and horror. It's like and I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but like
we didn't.
Key and Peele, what was it? Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
He made, he's made a couple of the scariest movies, the top horror movies, but he's got his chops as a comedian because it's the same type of thing. It's just, do you lean into, all right, I want to make them laugh, or is it, I want to, because horror is like the same uneasiness that comes right before a punchline, but instead you just can go harder with like, instead of the setup being, okay, I'm gonna relieve the tension. Now it's like, okay, somebody has to die or something, it's a different, climax or whatever, but it's the same, like the setup is the same.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to say. It's like, I think that all of comedy comes from tragedy. Because even if I were to start thinking of a set that would be like, oh, my life is so great and everything that is so awesome, like that I want to kill myself, would be the only way you would laugh. Like, I'd have to take all these antidepressants. That's the only way you'd start laughing, right? Yeah. Nobody starts laughing until they see the relatability of the sorrow. Yeah. And that's just kind of why I like New York's vibe, because the more you push it, the more you'll find the funnier stuff. You're gonna bawl a lot.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be real painful.
Yeah, one of my favorite comedians, and like when I talked about like not taking pictures with people, I took the picture when I went to see this guy at Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, Roy Wood Jr. He's hilarious, but he calls it juggling dynamite, because what you're doing, people might not like it. And, they don't want to hear it, or the angle you took, you don't have all the facts to try to make the point you're trying to make. But if you fucking can do it, man, it's the best.
I know that
man.
Name. I don't know why I know that
name. He's on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. He's one of the correspondents and stuff. But he's got 3 specials on Comedy Central.
Yeah, I know.
And what's his name?
I know him
Roy Wood
well.
Jr. Yeah. He just came out with a special.
You said Wood?
Yeah, Wood.
Yeah, you're talking about the tragedy and then comedy. It's like those too soon jokes, like too soon.
Yeah.
Is there too soon?
Yeah.
Well, No, but that's just it. Too soon. But it's like, you talk about Princess Di or 9/11.
Can you talk about 9/11 on the day of 9/11?
The seriousness of the joke, and then, but
it's like the people that were making.
People were just waiting for that release to finally go. Somebody's finally.
I know that. Yeah, he's funny.
Not making fun of it, but allowing that release in comedy.
Right.
Exactly. And making fun of it because that allows the release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is the point. But the whole thing is that in our culture today, because I was thinking about what we talked about last time because I was like, cancel culture. You're like, it's always been around, nigga. And I'm like, you're right. You are right. But here is a larger difference that I think it doesn't change it. You're still right. Yeah. But it makes it more visceral to us is the fact that we now, with the platforming of online internet, you get rewarded for being a victim. So people will jump at the concept to be a victim sometimes to get the reward. Like, you go, girl, that's right. Don't let them talk about sexual harassment or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the key difference. I don't think victims back in the 20s, people were like standing up for them. Like, it was kind of like, bitch, shut up. Like, you didn't feel cool. You didn't feel good.
Yeah, because back then you had to go. So, like, people were still doing it because they were talking about, I saw something about, like, Eddie Murphy trying to do a tour again, and they were bringing up the jokes he made back on, like, the Raw special.
Stop looking at my ass.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Talking about the transmit.
And but the people that were there that were doing the same thing, like, quote unquote, trying to cancel them or whatever, you had to go. You couldn't just click or like something, which is so, like, that part is the worst of it. That's why it's like, you just kind of got to roll with that. Like, it's always going to be good and bad. Like, we have the internet, so you can get this information. You can get that stuff out to all of these people. And there's going to be people that don't have anything else to do that, so they're like, and this people, you got to understand, there's people that make money off of that. Like, being a victim, being, supporting the victim mentality, quote unquote. Yeah. But there are also victims. Like, some people, and that's the problem. The problem is,
go figure.
Yeah, the problem is some people are genuine. Some people are the people that would have showed up and like, hey, this happened to me, and at least they want, because a lot of times I think people just want to be heard. Yeah. It's like, look, maybe you don't have to necessarily change what you're saying or whatever, but at least hear what I'm telling you and why this affects me. That's your livelihood, but it's the same thing. Like, you don't have to write that joke. Like I said, I don't have to do this joke about politics, and I get into it with my wife all the time because I talk, I'm married. So, you talk a little shit about being married and stuff like that because it's relatable. Everybody goes through the stuff. It's the same. Right. It's the same kid stuff. And I'm like, and plus, this is shit you've done. Don't get mad at me about the truth. Like, how about you don't do it? Like, I'm not going up there and just making up shit. Like, just like if it was completely fake and I was like, oh, she's terrible and all of this. I'm like, if I got 5 minutes and you're 25 seconds of that 5 minutes, and now we got to argue for an hour about that 25 seconds, and it was true. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm just trying to process the stuff that happened, and trying to turn something that I think was ridiculous into at least, all right, I can make it funny. Like, it's
it gets way worse when it's recorded though, right? And that's the whole thing. I've dealt with that a few times, like where I posted something that I thought was funny, and so did the audience, but it was embarrassing to like my significant other. Yeah. And I so cringed to me, dude. I'm like, don't watch. Yeah. Please don't watch.
I mean, if you're probably like me and my wife, we make like throughout the day, we're producing 5-minute skits throughout the day. I mean, I look at my wife, I was like, that was the funniest thing that just happened. I mean, throughout the day, I'm like, that's like 5 minutes of comedy right there. And we're both dying laughing. Yeah. I mean, it happens every day with people. Right. It's hilarious. Like, it's human satire. It happens nonstop.
Yep. I'm with you. And it's I don't know. I would say, because I heard somebody say this, like, if you're going to talk about your significant other or whatever, especially as a comic, just run it by them first.
Really?
So, like, I mean, because then you, I can't say that I've actually done this, but I can say that when she's asked me, or she's like, hey, if I knew this was coming, then I would. But I'm like, you have to understand, I'm not going up there like, oh, you're so bad or whatever. I'm like, it's the idea of marriage. It's what I know other people that are married go through.
Yeah.
That's why this is funny. It's not a I'm picking on you type of thing.
Right.
I was like, and that's how I tried to explain it. So I was like, if I was on a TV show and I was talking trash about my wife or I was kissing another lady, you're not going to come home and be like, you cheated on me with that bitch on the TV. Like, that's not real. It's not, it's an observation about, the human condition. It's
You're
not,
100% correct.
Yeah, it's not, but it doesn't stop those arguments from happening necessarily.
Right. But I would assume that one day when the checks are fat enough, the arguments will subside.
That's
Oh, you're right. That is work. You're right. That is work.
Right.
Okay.
So you said you have just one son? Or do you have more?
2 kids.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, son and a daughter. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yep. But comedy is the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's,
And is that all you're doing now? Is that your main focus,
no,
your main thing?
You mean like work wise or
Sure.
whatever? No, I have 2 other jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Comedy, but
You want that to be your only thing?
Oh yeah.
So that's what you're striving for?
That would be the goal.
Okay.
If I had a goal in comedy, really, my goal in comedy is to do well enough in comedy so I can quit my second job. Like my first job, I can kind of keep that. It's during the day. They are doing some shady stuff that kind of is making everybody want to leave. Cause like I work in IT, so we could work from home, but they forced us to come back, and it's rough. Like people are pissed, and I'm like, man, But my issue is, I only live like 8 minutes away, so the drive, the driving thing is not a big deal for me. But but it's like.
And we got to go in?
Yeah.
8 minutes.
Right.
But so you could become a whistleblower is what you're saying?
Well, no. I mean, everybody's mad. It's not a whistleblower type of thing where they're doing something shady.
You just said they're doing something shady.
But it's why be mad when he's 8 minutes away?
Well, yeah. But
they're still doing something shady.
No, but it's shady in a personal way. It's not shady to like the people or whatever. It's shady to the workers.
To force them to go back.
Yeah.
For a protocol.
It's like, it would be
All
not a
right.
whistleblower. If anything, it would be like a union rep type of thing. Like start a union and like, hey, these are terrible work conditions and stuff like that.
The union rep that lives 8 minutes away.
But,
all right.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be me. But it's like I said, it's like the fighting a dude for $40. It's the principle.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, plus it's like, look, I was working from home. I could be doing whatever.
Yeah.
You can be naked. Yeah. The kids are at school. My wife working from home.
Me a little bit of boo hoo hoo hoo.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go to work.
Right.
Wah. I don't know. I'm not too much on that. Man, I got to sit in my underwear and get paid. Now you got to put pants on.
Like I said, it's not. But that's the type of thing. It's not me that is concerning. I got people that work, downriver, and we work in Sterling Heights. Now gas is fucking $4.
That's facts.
Right?
That's facts.
So it's like, it's not me. Like I work every day. Like if it was, hey, these people can work, a couple days from home, but you got to work every day. I'd be like, I could bite that bullet because it's not about me. It's about the print. And like I said, that's what sucks. It's like, hey, y'all don't need us here, but y'all telling us we gotta be here.
Yeah.
It's that type of thing. And we proved for 2 years that we didn't need to be here. Nothing ever went wrong. And even if it did, me and a couple other people live close enough that's like, hey, if we gotta get there in 5 or 10 minutes, we'll be there. But
so when you do your traveling gigs, do they pretty much pay for themselves? Or do you gotta come out of pocket a little bit on those?
So far, they have. I haven't traveled too much. Like,
because that's some. I mean, I would think for the experience and everything, that's
fucking
awesome. No matter what.
That's usually what it is. It's like, hey, you get to go here, but like when I did the shows in Toledo, they paid for the hotel.
Right.
They were giving us food and stuff like that. And the hotel was
about Toledo.
I like that. It sounds good.
Get a nice 2-star in Toledo.
Right. Well,
they're paying.
The hotel was nice because technically it's
right next to the Waffle House.
Yeah, there was a Waffle House right around the corner.
Oh, it is one of those. Okay. Yeah, I know.
But the hotel was nice. It was because it was like a part they're like building up.
I'm teasing,
like,
by the way.
No, I know that, but I'm saying
right.
like no, because there's been some other places where I didn't stay in some shitholes, but Toledo was
but
really
you're just
nice.
sleeping, so it's all
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Seriously.
It's like but this place had a pool and they had a workout room and all of that.
And what's your times? When are your sets usually?
It's all night stuff. So
Right.
like
Well,
7,
yeah, I know.
Like the one, like the first 2 days.
I know you're not doing like 11 o'clocks or anything like that. It's a senior
Some
citizen
people,
place
yeah,
or anything.
Some people do. Like, you know.
Do they really?
Oh yeah.
Like afternooners or something?
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely do in Hamtramck. They have one.
You ever do a cruise or anything like that? Because that would be
No,
some
I
shit,
haven't.
dude.
Yeah.
You should fucking. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Get a
that's-
gig on a cruise.
But that's what I'm saying. You gotta build up the time, and there's
Fuck.
and I'm very humble in general. Like I wasn't just saying that.
Well, no, and I get that
But-
earlier. I was going to go back to that. Like,
But yeah.
it's not a matter of like you selling out to kind of push your name out there.
Yeah.
But isn't that what it takes nowadays to get? Unfortunately,
Yeah. And that's what
But-
I hate the self promotion. I hate
Why?
Cause
I know, but
because
dude,
it's not me.
and you
It's
are
not
so
my-
opposite like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
He
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
But
in
dude,
there,
if that's
bro.
what it takes,
It is not me. I would rather
team up with Homeboy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
us because
I would rather.
I love it.
Savagery Productions will
Yeah.
get you on the right track.
I would rather just put the work in, and so when the time comes, I only need 20 minutes, but I have 90 minutes.
So what's this time coming? What is that?
I mean, like,
what does that
if something,
look like to
if I
you?
get booked,
Kill Tony.
yeah,
That
I
would be
mean,
the time.
Yeah, but Kill Tony is, I mean, that's,
What is that?
that's 60 seconds.
If he does Kill Tony and gets on there,
What is
he's
that?
good.
What-
Oh, I'm
what-
sorry.
I'm-
You're right. That's what you asked. I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
Kill Tony is a 60-second stand-up internet show. It's the largest one on the planet, and anyone who understands stand-up comedy, they know if you go up there and you kill one time, you're gonna have a career. If you keep killing, you know what I mean?
Okay, I gotcha.
yeah. So, I mean, like,
So
yeah,
when do you
something
do
like
that?
that. Well, it's in Texas, so
Okay.
you gotta go
Austin,
to Texas.
baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know some people that like have done that and worked there, but they moved to Texas.
It blew
I
up.
can't.
So when do
I
you have
can't-
the opportunity to do that again, or do you? Or
I mean,
you just-
it's
We're gonna
every-
go, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
God damn.
Hell
It's soon.
yeah.
I'll probably try to go. I'll go this year.
Hell yeah.
And
Okay.
and but you still got to go because it's like a bucket pool
Mm-hmm.
type thing. So you gotta
200
hope for
names. You might not ever even get pulled.
Yeah.
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 What I was always curious about is set times. Like I've saw mainstream comedians and like 35 minutes. I was disappointed, but dude, coming up with material is got to be one of the toughest things. And
You should've watched the
getting
first
a longer set. And I've seen comedians do 45 minutes, and it seemed like a nice long set. But coming up with material, I mean, do you go back and forth? Do you, and like you
Yeah.
said, making stories that
Right.
turn into.
It's well when you start, it like you're only gonna have like you're trying to get like a type 5. So it's like 5 minutes where you're getting consistent laughs. You're talking about whatever you want, and then you just kind of build from there. So like
Right.
my type 5 was about like my family, and then when I first started doing comedy, I had lost a bunch of weight. So those were kind of like the two topics I kind of covered. And then, since then I kind of gained the weight, so I don't really do the weight loss jokes anymore. But, now I'm on the weight loss train again. So I've lost like 40 pounds since December or whatever.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but like, cause I hate that, like, cause it's like one of those things. It's like the same thing where like I'll talk about being married, and I celebrated my 9th anniversary or whatever in August, and people are like, "Woo!" I'm like, don't clap for that. That's,
Shit.
that's just time passing. Like,
It is.
it could be terrible. Like it could be
Right.
like we could have been together this whole
It's
time,
just
but
something
it's,
people do.
but like it's like the whole birthday celebration. That's why I'm not a big birthday fan. 'Cause I'm
Ugh,
like,
I
yeah,
hate
I
it, dude.
survived. Like that's not to me, it's not a reason to celebrate.
1 year closer
Right.
to death.
Yeah.
And people buying Hallmark cards. That's I fucking
Yeah,
hate.
But why
that
not
shit.
weight loss? Weight loss is super important because
But-
obesity is huge in our country. Anyone who
Right.
beats that, you're beating the odds that kills us.
Yes, and I'm writing jokes.
That is.
I'm writing
Feel me?
jokes about
It is.
it, about that part of it. But we don't applaud people that never got fat. Type of thing. You
You're
know what I'm
right.
saying?
You're right. You're right.
You get what
We
I'm
hate the
saying?
Zac
Like
Efrons.
every day they're going out and they
Right.
could be fucking eating pizza and Burger King and
Right.
shit, and they don't. So if we were gonna applaud that, and I mean we kind of do,
Fuck
'cause
metabolism.
It's like, like you're never gonna see a dude that looks like me on the fucking "This is the hottest guy in America" or whatever.
Right.
But it's always gonna be a rip, so we do kind of applaud it.
You're
like,
right.
They get that, but I'm saying like you're not gonna outwardly, and we don't talk about. Cause my angle is kind of like how, like the premise is, food is the hardest addiction. And to me, it's personal because it's like, yeah, I would think that because that's my addiction. So that's why I care about it. But when you think about it, it's those types of things. Like food is the only thing where you can get a disease from not having it. It's the only thing where you can underdose. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like if you don't eat enough food, now you're anorexic. Now there's other issues.
But you can quit heroin and never do it again.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You'll never go to a doctor's appointment. He's like, you're not doing enough heroin.
You need to
Like,
do the right amount of heroin.
Exactly. Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's that type of thing. Or you'll never go like that's what sucks. Like when I'm losing weight, like I lost a bunch of weight. Like I think that when I lost a bunch of weight, like 3 or 4 years ago, I lost like 80 pounds in like 3 months. And people were like, oh, you're losing too much weight and stuff like that. Like fucking got scared. And I'm like, God damn it. You wanted me to lose this weight. And then I did it. And now you mad at me. So it's like, you're turning that. Like if you turn down grandma's fucking macaroni and cheese at Thanksgiving.
You too skinny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like,
dude, right.
and that's what I'm saying. But she'll never come up to you like, baby, I made this plate of crack just for you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna take that's never gonna happen.
Grandma
man.
was up in the meth lab all last night.
Right.
You gotta taste just a little bit.
Exactly, man.
When you were talking earlier, all serious about like weight loss and stuff, I thought you started like, so here's the problem: food is good. That's my problem. Food is good.
It's
man.
good.
Fuck.
And it's
God, food is good though.
right. And it's not even that it's just like I said. It's not even that it's just good. You have to have it. You can't not eat.
Yeah.
Because even at this size, if you don't eat, eventually you'll just die.
Man.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
But
Yeah.
And you're not gonna. You can't just magically, okay, now I'm gonna eat better, and then boom, you're there.
It's like you got to smoke just a little bit of crack 3 times a day.
Yeah,
That's
You
really
gotta
what it's like.
yeah,
You know,
it's like
I get it.
It's like weaning yourself off.
What's the big word I'm looking for? It's not dedication. It's having the willpower or whatever to.
I don't even think we were genetically bred.
Because, dude,
like,
I'm so bad.
Like when we evolved or however we came up, we had to kill it, eat as much as possible, and wait for the next.
Yeah.
So when people overeat, it makes logical sense to me. You know what I mean? That makes more sense than a person who's like, oh, just a little bit, good.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
and when I look at it, it's like people with like alcoholics, like stuff like that. It's like, I get it because I can go to a bar and have 1 or 2 drinks and be good the rest of the night. But I can't go and eat like 1 slice of pizza.
Ooh, that's
so it's
hard.
like my shit is like I gotta
Right.
just cut this
Dude.
stuff out. That's why whenever I lose weight, I lose a bunch of weight really fast because I don't fuck with any of the stuff I used to.
Yeah.
I'll go straight. And I'm not the type of person that's like, some people are like, oh, I can't eat the same thing every day. I can eat the same bullshit meal every day as long as I stick to it.
Now, do you think
Right.
that's sustainable?
No, that's why my fucking weight fluctuates 100
So is that
pounds. Like
Yeah.
every year. Like if you go to my Instagram,
Oh, I have.
there's a like one of my one of my first pictures. I'm probably in that picture. I'm probably 60 or 70 pounds lighter than I am right now, and so that's 100 pounds lighter than I was a few months ago. But right before that, I was this size again. So like I lost all of that weight. I started doing comedy, and then but the issue when I first started comedy was I was making a bunch of money doing my second job. So I was like, the time it takes to go to New Way, sit there till 1 a.m. to get a 5-minute spot, it wasn't worth it when I could be at work making I was making like $40 or $50 an hour working from home in my second job. So it was like it was too much money at the time, but my job kind of they changed the way it works and the pay rate or whatever, the pay scale. So I don't make nearly as much money. So I was like, fuck it, I might as well lean into comedy and
I love that story. Wait, real quick, because I'm going to bring it back to the weight loss because he tried to sidestep. Anyways, the yo-yo aspect, because you say, I got to cut it all out, my man. We just determined that's probably not sustainable.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? What's the real plan then? Because if it's not, you know what I mean?
the plan, because it's like you said, willpower. Like I was listening to this thing. Willpower is not really. I don't think it's really a a concept or something that we actually do. Yeah, I don't think willpower.
It's not
and
real.
I think it's kind of like
not real.
psychologically, it's not a real thing. If you look at the people where you think like, oh, they have really good willpower, they train themselves regularly to not do those things. So
Right.
like they
Yep.
don't have those
Yep.
snacks in the house. You
Right.
just avoid the stuff like so my snacks will be fruit or whatever.
Right.
Instead of, a bag of chips, because you're eating a bag of chips
100%.
or doing something and then you fucking finished a family sized bag of chips.
So
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I'm still
Dude.
not even full.
Yeah.
It's just you're just putting
Yep.
it away, and it's like the mindlessness of
Yep.
it. Like when I think about, if I take the time to like, oh, okay, am I hungry right now? Then I can stop eating.
Yeah.
So like that's more sustainable. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, I can have a slice of pizza, but
Right.
normally it's just like, oh, it's pizza here.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
eat
Do you ever
the
just
pizza.
wait until you're hungry?
Me? Personally, yes.
In general, like, do you ever just wait to that feeling till you're hungry? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but I also
Like,
emotionally eat too. I
weird.
also
Yeah.
eat with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friends. I
Right.
do it all. But the concept that I was trying to bring up is like, it's called if it fits your macros, because if you look at the data behind crash dieters or people that clean eat, it's very shitty.
Yeah.
When it comes to keeping the weight off, rather than if it fits your macros, is the concept where you have to know your math problem for what you got to eat to look the way you do, right?
yeah.
Once you establish that, you work in like the small things of cookies, or when you want to mindlessly eat, you do it with the veggie straws instead of the chips. Like, I think it's so important to have those things though, or you'll go crazy. You'll be like, let me get
Right.
15 Philly cheesesteaks.
Yeah, yeah,
These
Right.
passed out in your car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
relapse.
kinda like-
you
I-
relapse hard.
I forget what they call it too with the sleeping. It's the same thing with the dieting. You ever hear those people that sleep a couple hours one day and they go like a couple days and then they sleep a few hours one day? You've never heard of that?
Methamphetamine addicts?
No, I know, right?
Definitely them.
It's something like that. I forget the word. If I had one of these phones, I'd look it up. But the same thing with dieting too. They do that. Same thing with eating.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you can do that with eating
But-
for sure.
Yeah,
Intermittent
right.
fasting.
It's-
That's what you're talking
right,
about.
and
Yeah.
then it's intermittent sleeping as well, dude.
That's insane
right,
sounding to me.
and they get it's so with your productivity. Yeah,
I'm not gonna say
it's
you're wrong.
crazy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Right, and I've done it being laid off recently.
With sleep?
So yeah, bro. Right. So I've gone like 36 hours in a row, especially with working on this house to get it done because it goes on the market next week. Yeah,
I go to
amazing,
sleep
bro.
every night. I can't imagine not being
and
sleepy.
and meth free too. Yeah,
I
believe it
I
or not,
believe you.
man.
I'm just saying.
So vitamins and eating pretty good. You know, yeah. I'm sore as shit, but yeah.
So your body's more sore from
Oh
doing it.
fuck.
Okay.
Because I haven't been working either, and I'm pretty active at work.
All right.
But and then the lactic acid kicks in at the end of the day, and my body just fucking tightens up.
The last thing that I wanted to
Fuck.
do, though, I wanted you to do your plugs, my friend. Can you plug yourself real quick? Tell them where you're going to be, what you're
plug
doing.
yourself.
Yeah, plug.
On camera.
I don't even. Well,
You gotta let 'em know.
I'm going to California next week
Nice.
for a wedding, though.
yeah.
So it's not.
Oh.
I'm not, yeah. I don't have any book.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing.
Ugh.
And then in 2 weeks I'm getting my wisdom teeth pulled. So I'm kind of off the next 2 weeks. But these, like looking at my calendar.
Wait, when are you getting your wisdom teeth pulled?
People want to come and support.
yeah, right. How
March 31st.
All right.
The day
So everyone
before
knows.
April Fool's, so I'm a fucking.
how young are you, Ryan?
I'm 35.
Oh, 35.
Yeah.
All right.
The black don't crack. You never know.
Young
You know what I'm
buck.
saying, bro?
Yeah.
Jeez.
God
But
damn.
I got, let me see. I'm doing Strikers in Armada. That's April 14th. I'm judging a roast at Parts and Labor, which is in Melvindale.
Judging a roast.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's April 16th.
What's judging a roast?
What do you mean?
Well, a roast is where you're making fun of people.
No, this
Right.
is a battle, though, right? Roast
Yeah, yeah,
battle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in
Oh,
New York,
sweet.
they got these roast
I got you.
Yeah,
No, I got
dude.
you. Okay.
It's sick.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm in Caseville on the 23rd of April.
Getting paid for all this shit? I hope.
Yep. Every one of these is paid. And then I'm
I
headlining
hope
the
so.
show. Headlining the show at Irish Tavern in Madison Heights, April 28th. So
That's close to home, baby.
that's-
Close to home.
Those are the April dates.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Peace.